Good morning, guys, and look at this amazing day. Well, I'm about to give you an amazing top tip. Well, it's not so amazing. Slightly embarrassing on my behalf, but certainly something that is worth sharing with you guys. I've just found out why this brand new Halset HX30 Turbo was passing oil out the back seals and creating blue smoke. It's a brand new turbo and a brand new manifold, a brand new setup. You might have seen the videos where we bought this off a customer and righted all the wrongs. And I put that new turbo on, and straight away I got some blue smoke after I was driving it a little while, and I thought, hang on a second, this is a brand new turbo, what is going on? Well, I found the reason, and it's sillier than you may think. This was in here, which was supplied when I bought the car, an oil catch can. And the inner diameter of the oil catch can hose is very small. It's about 9mm, I would say. And I was just glancing at this, and generally, like my dad always said to me, check the basics. You never forget it, dear, when you've been through everything and then you miss the absolute obvious. I checked the basics, and sure enough, I looked at this and I thought, actually, hang on a second, I've stuck this back in here when I've put it back together, but that's nowhere near big enough. And it doesn't help the fact that nothing is sucking on it either. Nothing is connected to this, sucking the gases out. You know, if it was going back into the turbo intake or something. So I thought, okay, it's got to be worth a try. Pull the hose out, took it round the block, blue smoking completely gone. Turbo no longer is passing any oil. Who knew? So block breather, high crankcase pressure, and it was causing the turbo to blow blue smoke. Normally, what happens if a customer has an issue and he has blue smoking problems, normally if a customer has issues and he has high crankcase problems, what normally happens is it actually blows the the stop solenoid. I don't know if you can see it. The white stop solenoid on top of the pump, it usually blows that closed from the inside and it shuts the engine down. So as soon as you get high crank pressure, the engine stops. But that wasn't happening with this. Just the blue smoke. Obviously that wasn't restrictive enough to create that pressure. However, pull it out and it's fixed. And look, I've noticed something else while I've been in here. I noticed this is a HX30 turbo. And like the HX35s and the HX40s that we sell, all made by Halset for diesel engines, they all have wastegates, which is really, really weird, isn't it? When diesel engines supposedly don't need wastegates. I don't know where this is coming from on the internet, guys. I've been seeing it. I've been seeing more of this, and I'm worried that stupidity may be spreading. And I'm joking with the stupidity. It is stupid. Stop saying it. If you have an engine with a reasonable RPM range, you absolutely need the wastegate, unless you variable geometry, and then it can open up the housing in a different way. Because you have to imagine, if this turbo is hitting full boost at 2,500 RPM, at 100 cc's of fuel, if we continue up the rev range, even to say 3,000 RPM, at the same amount of fuel in, that turbocharger is not going to be able to pass out of that small exhaust housing enough gas. You know, picture it as balloons. Imagine it as balloons. Imagine 2,500 balloons coming out of your exhaust, all passing through there, and they can just adequately squeeze through it. And then imagine increasing that to 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 balloons. They physically can't fit. And that is why we have the wastegates, because it lowers the drive pressure and increases the efficiency. If we've got pressure, back pressure, pushing back against the engine, it's like an exhaust brake, and that is absolutely what we don't need. That ruins efficiency, creates heat, puts wear on the engine components, and we absolutely don't need that. To say that a diesel engine does not need a wastegate in all cases is absolutely flat out wrong. And anyone with any actual experience, dyno testing, equipment, any sort of intelligence can agree to that. Yes, you can limit boost with fueling, absolutely, but only to an extent. If you wanted to limit fueling enough to stop this turbo over boosting, you're going to be dropping that fuel so low that you're going to end up with a numb power band at the top of the rev range, and that's what you have to remember. So if you picture a really big turbo that perhaps didn't need a wastegate because it was set to run at high revs, you're going to have a very numb bottom end, aren't you? If you imagine it on a 606, an S300 turbo, you could probably get away without a wastegate on that, and it's going to come on boost at 4,000, and it's still going to go out of its boost threshold. It's going to hit 4 bar if you don't restrict it, if you don't wastegate it, which is out of its efficiency zone. However, it probably won't break it, and it probably won't damage it because the housing's big enough to flow those, imagine them balloons, flow them all out. However, you imagine a turbo half that size. It comes on to boost at 2,000 RPM, then suddenly everything after that is a complete bottleneck, strangling the engine to death and not being able to get that flow out. That's why all these factory turbos like this that go on a wider range RPM engine have a wastegate. It's absolutely essential. To say that they don't need it is total nonsense. Have a look at an Audi V6 by TDI. Has one VNT turbo and it has one wastegated regular turbo. Again, I suppose they didn't know what they were doing. I suppose Allset didn't know what they were doing. And I suppose most of the marine engines that you see that have wastegates, they probably didn't know what they were doing either. Sorry guys. There's a lot of misinformation on the internet at the moment, and it's coming from one certain individual, and I don't know whether he's doing it as a joke or whether he's doing it to be serious. If you've got the knowledge to know the difference, then it's obvious, but if you don't, I pity the younger guys and people that are learning because the information is toss. Bye for now, guys.